upwards of 80% of businesses are vulnerable when it comes to cybersecurity. And so their functionality around the idea is that if it's not broke, we're not going to fix it. But we're just going to move it along. And it's just so unfortunate because when something does happen, it becomes 2 to 3 times more expensive because now they have to do it in a timely manner because they're losing money. Now they have to get everything going. So they have to overspend just to be behind. And then that creates this anxiety for them because now they have to trust whatever expert they bring in to be able to solve their problem 100% because that's their goal, to solve it 100%. But the reality is that they're going to be behind because whatever they're trying to do is just temporary. It's just a Band-Aid. And unfortunately, that disconnect is not going anywhere anytime soon because with AI and with many they have another barrier. No, oh my gosh, what do I do with that?
And hello, my friends, and welcome on board. My name is Derrick Fennell, and I'm your host on the Next Gen podcast. And you're right on time for takeoff, so take your seats, fasten your seatbelts, and sit back and enjoy the flight on the Next Gen podcast. Welcome on board. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Next Gen Podcast 1. This is a space for real conversations with people building, leading, and learning in real time. People who believe in strong companies and are built by strong people. Here we explore what actually works in business today, how thoughtful leaders and smart use of technology create momentum, and why better conversations lead to better outcomes. If this show resonates with you, take a moment to follow or subscribe. It helps this conversation reach more people who value clarity, leadership, and human-centered growth. Now let's jump right into today's conversation. I'm your host, Derrick Fennell on Next Gen Podcast 1. And on today's show, we have a special guest here to help us unpack all of this. He's an exceptional guest. His name is Mr. Orloff Phillips. He is the founder of Sweets Associates, a strategic partner for commercial and government agencies that specialize in technology. His company provides workflow strategies, resources, products, and services related to IT management, cybersecurity, AI integration, network integration, and low voltage cabling. And welcome, Mr. Orloff. I'd like to say welcome to Next Gen Podcast 1. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you for such a wonderful introduction you gave of me. I appreciate it and I'm honored to be here.
Well, thank you. We're happy to have you, sir. You bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to the show here that we're going to share with the people. But I got to say, let's start at the top, Mr. Phillips. Mm-hmm. For someone hearing about you and Sweets Associates for the first time, share with us what you do or describe for us what you do and who you serve.
Yeah. Well, so what I do is I'm a strategic partner when it comes to technology. I come alongside businesses, small, medium, and large, mostly in the small and medium-sized area when it comes to being like an executive advisor. And I take all those resources that I've been able to work with many of the big names that company knows of, like Johnson & Johnson, Walmart, even the city of Philadelphia and our United States government, working with DOD. I've taken all those skill sets and now I can apply it to small businesses and really help them move some of their technology agendas along, really making it practical for them, making it really lean and honest in how they can apply it without the bloatedness of what it takes to support it. So I take all those innovations that I've learned and applied over the years, completing over 16,000 projects with multiple companies, and utilizing that for really small businesses, and in particular, even with nonprofits and faith-based businesses, because they're still businesses as well. Yes. And so I take that mindset and I apply it to what they need to move their technology integration along.
Oh, that is awesome, man. What a great job you're doing. 16,000 projects. That's You've been at it a long time. Uh, Orloff, let's back up for a minute. You didn't just randomly wake up one day and decide to develop this niche in the field of technology. What
Hmm.
pulled you into this industry? How did you decide on it? How did you get to where you are today? What was that spark? Share with us.
Yeah, you know, it's like that kid in the sandbox mentality. You kind of play with stuff. When I was an undergrad at Temple University, I was in their engineering program, and I just met some amazing people. But even before that, just my family really supported just my vision for being curious.
Hmm.
There were teachers, we speak about, people who are at disadvantage. I was fortunate enough to have, people in my life that pushed me to really be creative, to really seek those areas I was very curious about. So by the
Hmm.
time I got to the space where I was like, hey, technology really connects with me, and business really connects with how to move that along. It was like, it felt like slow motion in a way, but it really came together over the years, working with different
Okay.
communities, working with different advisors, mentors, but really it started with my family just really pushing me along.
Okay. So, was there a specific moment in time where you said, okay, this is the problem I'm going to solve? You know, was do you remember making that decision to say, this is it? I'm going to throw this business up. What was that? Tell us about that moment.
Well, I would give you three examples. Just real short. And when I was younger, my dad got me a Model T Ford car. I'm not a car person, but I
Mm-hmm.
love putting things together. So I think that was like the first instinct of like, wait up. Not only am I a hands-on person, but I can see how things can be applied.
Mm-hmm.
The second place was when, like I said, when I was in college, and
Mm-hmm.
it just really connected with me. I had an instructor that I really didn't like studying, man. I just, the people who know me, they're like, listen, man, what are you doing? But I had a couple professors that gripped me up and said, listen, you can do it.
Right.
And that
Right.
was like, really? Okay. The third part was with my first role, leading a department,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a bunch of systems that failed, and I had to roll my sleeves up and
Okay.
apply what I've learned. And
Mm-hmm.
instinctively, I brought it together. And I was
Okay.
like, wait up a second, this thing is real. It just felt so natural.
Right.
And then
Right.
from
Right.
then on, no
Okay.
matter what I touch, I mean, I taught web design when in the early days. I mean, I just jumped into that market. I worked with
Mm-hmm.
companies who needed to move their technologies along. But it really started with those little sparks and those interests with those
Mm-hmm.
three different examples.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Mhm.
Okay, so jumping into Sweets Associates, like
Mhm.
tell us about Sweets Associates. What sets you apart from other companies? What makes you unique? What makes Sweets Associates unique?
Well, let's take the name itself. It means excellence, and I think that
Okay.
the mindset that I bring to you know customers is really a practical approach for delivering their technology. And I don't disappear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just show up like the UPS guy, the FedEx guy, and then I'm on to the next one. I am committed to making sure that they have a plan that they can execute, and I
Mm-hmm.
will be with them throughout the process and
Okay.
beyond. The goal is to be a real partner, not just to show up when there's a check or when there's something burning down, but to really be involved with the business, because
Okay.
that's what really impacts how they do business.
Mm-hmm.
Many
Mm-hmm.
business owners, they're just like most of us entrepreneurs. They can't get their heads up high enough, and so my goal is to make their environment much more effective to work in, so that they
Mm-hmm.
can do what they need to do.
Right. Okay. Okay. Now, what do you see as the biggest problem in the industry today? What are some of the challenges and obstacles that you run into in developing your business as well as helping businesses develop their business?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the evolution of technology, I think there's a huge just disadvantage when it comes to where small businesses, how they can use many of the technologies that are out there, and so a lot of times it's really about educating them
Mm-hmm.
and helping them understand that they don't have to be stuck until they're
Mm-hmm.
forced to not. I've been in some environments that their technology is so
Mm-hmm.
dated, they don't realize that. And I've used this statistics before. Upwards of 80% of businesses are vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to cybersecurity, and so they in their functionality around the idea is that if it's not broke, we're not going to fix it. Like, we're just gonna
Right. Right. Yeah.
move it
Yeah.
along. And it's just so unfortunate because when something does happen, it becomes 2 to 3 times more expensive because now they have to do it in a timely manner because they're losing money.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have to get everything going. So they have to overspend
Mm-hmm.
just to be behind.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it creates this anxiety for them
Mm-hmm.
because now they have to trust whatever expert they bring in to be
Mm-hmm.
able to solve their problem 100% because that's their goal, to solve it 100%. But the reality
Mm-hmm.
is that they're going to be behind because
Mm-hmm.
whatever they're trying to do is just temporary. It's just a band-aid
Mm-hmm.
on, and unfortunately that disconnect is not going anywhere anytime soon because with AI and with many
Really?
of yeah, they have another barrier. No, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
what do I do with that?
Mm-hmm.
So my goal is to really help them understand how they can effectively implement technology. They can phase it in. They don't have to go spend a big budget. They can phase it in. They can be
Mm-hmm.
surprised for many of the solutions out there, just how practical
Mm-hmm.
and really effective it is for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. But that's awesome. So how do you, I can see that, discussion right now, and it's like insurance. You don't need it till you need it, you don't want it till you need it, and most of the time it's too late. So how do you get them to move past that? Like, nah, yeah, I'm good. How do you get them to get past that?
Yeah. Well, it's about building trust. It's about
Okay.
building trust.
Okay.
I mean, I can show up with a list full of accolades, but if they don't trust you, they're not going to do anything. And even with that, it's really about staying committed to that trust.
Right. Right.
I'm not, as I say, I'm not Dr. Phil. I'm not any of that. But I think, as you mentioned earlier, what makes what I do different
Mm-hmm.
is that I will sit down with you and I will help you navigate that concern. I've worked with businesses that is interesting. They'll upgrade certain systems, except for things that is like maybe like their systems, their personal systems and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we'll put that in the map and we'll say, listen, we need to do it we'll give them like a specific date that is best because what happens is we're creating vulnerabilities and then so
Okay. Okay.
but I'll show them. I'll say, listen, it's like leaving your back door unlocked. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, I'll use examples like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to secure your business, if you really want to keep your business moving forward, then
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to leave cracks and you don't want to leave a window open and then you're spending all this money on electric and heating and you have a
Mm-hmm.
window open. Close the
Yeah.
window, right? So, but I get it. You may have
That's a
fear
great
of this.
example. Yeah.
So let me walk with you through this so that over a period of time, and I really press it in a very practical and understandable way, because at the end of the day, it's their investment.
Right.
I'm their strategic partner. It's their investment, and I want to make sure it's honored. And so I walk them through that so that they know what they're getting out of it.
Can you give us a real live case scenario of what you just described without using names, numbers, or whatever?
Mhm.
Just give a real example so that the user can see. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I was working with a small business out of Philadelphia, and because that's my core market,
Mm-hmm.
and they really wanted to integrate some amazing technology, I put a team around it, and so that they know what that would look like for them. I put it on paper, which is what we typically do, and I walk them through it. And then at the time of delivery, they changed their minds. Changed their minds. And it was more of that, you know what? And so I was like, well, so what we did is that I mentioned that a little earlier, is we phased in portions of their business, areas that immediately needed to be taken care of from a cybersecurity. Put in firewalls, we put in redundant systems, we put in, put in a new help desk. So from that aspect, that was taken care of. And then there was some micro areas, there were some softwares that they were used to using. And so we had to move them over to the cloud. It's like, hey, listen, this stuff is dated. And on top of that, it creates vulnerability for your system. So, on the geek side, we kind of close off some ports on the network so that they will be tightened up a little bit. And over a period of time, the goal was to migrate everything over to the cloud. We got them over to the cloud and they were good.
Yeah. So what was the reason that they changed their mind, if you don't mind me asking? Was it financial reasons? Was it just nervous? Was scared?
Control. Control.
It was both.
It's control. It's control. It's about, because once you move
control
things over
issues.
to the cloud,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. Because once you move it over to cloud, you can't touch and feel it anymore.
Okay.
You can't touch and feel it anymore.
Yeah.
So once your system is over in the cloud, it creates like, oh my gosh, who else is gonna have access to my things? And it was that whole you're in the cloud already, brother. You're in the cloud. You're in the cloud. You use email. You're already in the cloud. So
you don't even know it, huh?
You don't even know it.
So let's talk about AI and people's fear of losing their job. AI is going to take over the world. Businesses are going to shut down. Expand on that. Share your insight as to how you see AI growing in today's society and world.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. I was speaking to someone who is in the automobile business earlier, and that question came up. And really, I think of it like being a doctor. Doctors, they may know a lot, but they still have resources that they go to. And if we think of AI as a resource vehicle, more like a car, a hammer, lawnmower, if you think of it like that, it helps businesses get over that fear. It's not the Terminator movies. It's not that, because there are many things that AI just can't do. It's just a library of information. It's a large language model that we now get to tap into. Think of it like encyclopedia of many years ago. We had to go, and now you had to open it up, look it up, the information. That was efficient back then, right? Then it moved to a digital, right? We moved to the digital version of an encyclopedia. Well, now AI can now communicate with you where it can bring the encyclopedia to you. It can now, that's the goal now, where AI can now bring that information to you. So now you can focus on executing what you're supposed to do, because AI is helping you with some of those stagnant, repetitive things that held you back. You think about the amount of research that goes into, like, for example, let's say a salesperson has to acquire a new account. They're onboarding a new account, and they have to learn about that new account. Well, you can use something like Notebook LM. You can put that company information in Notebook LM, and on your way to that new account, Notebook LM can give you a presentation on that new account. And then it can spit out bullet points for you now to remember, because some people are auditory learners. So now we can help people understand that you don't have to now, even with Google, thumb through things and look up information. It can now make it more efficient. It can give you information based on what you need. And that now helps you move your business along. And if you're a salesperson, or if you're in the automobile business, or if you're in the IT business, now you have a tool that can interact with you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes, I love it. So, Orloff, you've been in this business or in this industry since about 2009. Am I correct?
Yeah, I
If you
started
could go
Swiss.
back,
Yeah, I
go
started
ahead.
Swiss in 2009, but overall, I've been in it for 25, 30 years.
Okay, so 25. Let's just say if you went back 20 years. You could go back in time carrying the
Mhm.
knowledge that you have today and go back in time 20 years ago, knowing what you know today. What would you do differently?
My friend, that's a very powerful question, because I think there's just so many things I would do differently. I think just being educated.
hmm
I when I was younger, I'm more of a leap first type of person. I want to
hmm
get involved with it. And I think what happens is that for people like me, because I pick up information so quickly, that I
hmm
think the education part of it slows me down. And so for me, I think that doing the education piece just strengthens the credibility to get the job done.
hmm
And so for me, I think I would just educate myself on the industries that I want to touch. And that
hmm
way I can represent them more.
hmm hmm
I think the younger version of Orloff really just wanted to get out there and make it happen and execute. And he did that. I think the older version of Orloff is saying, you know what? I, I could have taken some time to educate myself so I can do a better job in what I wanted to do.
Okay. So now let's flip the script. You're all off today,
Mm-hmm.
knowing what you know today.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see 20 years from now? How's the world different? What do you see happening in the future?
Yeah. So I'm working with a startup group on quantum.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum technology is a huge investment for countries and for many of the big players out there. And
Quick question. Define for the listener what quantum is.
so with our regular computers right now, we have everything is measured in bits.
Right.
And with quantum is measured in qubits. And so with quantum, it's really instead of information traveling in one direction and another, quantum, they travel bidirectional.
Mm-hmm.
They
Okay.
just travel. So the information now is processed much faster.
Okay.
Much faster. And right now, many of the test models they're using is mostly on calculation. I mean, that's usually what they usually do with new type of computer technology is calculations.
Mm-hmm.
20 years from now, our cell phones, we think it's cool now. It will be on a totally different level because everything will be processed much faster. We'll be able to do many of our go-to-market strategies. I believe it's just going to change the world. I think it's just going to change how we do business. I think that's how we do life. Because our exchange of information, we're talking about how you and I are talking right now on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be different layers to that. We're going to be able to almost have a Star Trek effect when it comes to how we communicate and how we interact with like our household. I'm gonna give you an example. 20 plus years ago, I went to a conference
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about, home automation. Actually, more like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is late 90s.
Yeah.
And
Almost went in that industry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
so they're talking about home automation, how your home is going to be able to respond to you. You'll be able to tell your lights on, tell your lights off. You remember back in the 80s, you had the clap on, clap off type of thing.
Yeah.
So we're talking about doorbells, being able to communicate. We're going to be able to, mobile phones and things like that. And I was just like, really? it just fascinated me.
Mhm.
Guess what? It happened. It
Yeah.
happened. We have
Yeah.
Zoom, we have Ring, we've
Mhm.
got Samsung, iPhones, we have
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
technology today.
Mhm.
So 20
Mhm.
years from now, it's going to be amazing how we're going to be able to interact with each other, and it's still going to be a tool that benefits not just companies but everyone.
Can you give an example, like what it looks like 20 years from now?
Wow, that's so in my imagination and in what some of
Okay.
the things that they're doing on a
Yeah.
practical level, I think that let's take the cell phone.
Mhm.
That I think it's going to be smaller. I
Mhm.
think it's going to be more embedded into, like, even with like our glasses, it's going to be embedded.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
more of a wearable technology.
Mhm.
Going to be, like I said, the Star Trek thing is going to be,
Yeah.
where it's going to have
Yeah.
more
You hit
of
it. Beam me
involvement.
up, Scotty.
Yeah, instead of us having to pull it out and, hey mom, how you doing? It will be something that's going to be embedded into our wearables. It'll be something that's going to be something
Okay.
more natural to our well-being.
Yeah.
And so that's one part is going to, because wearable
Yeah.
technology is still growing. And I think
Yeah.
that's one area where it's going to definitely benefit from that level of integration when it comes to quantum. Now,
Yeah.
quantum, there's two holdbacks to quantum right now, which is heat
Mhm.
and power. So they're gonna solve that problem, because clearly no one wants to deal with that. But
Mhm.
I honestly believe with AI being an instrumental tool right now,
Mhm.
they are knocking on the door to make those chipsets um, absolutely practical. Everything from toaster ovens to our
Mhm.
cell phones to our
Mhm.
TVs,
Mhm.
our vehicles. It's
Yeah.
gonna revolutionize. Let's think about our financial market.
Mhm.
Let's think about farming. It's gonna really make things much more efficient in
Mhm.
how we do things.
Mhm.
You asked a question about jobs and things like that.
Mhm.
I think we cannot be afraid of change just to hold on
I
to the
agree with you. I so agree with you, man. Yeah.
change is inevitable.
Yeah.
And our young people, they're going to be in a great position to now take advantage of the newness that that this world has to offer them. So
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
good. I think you and I, we're going to be at the age where we're going to sit back and smile, because
Yeah.
we've been a part of the seed of that.
Yeah.
But I think that if you're afraid, go learn about it. Fear without information, it just kind of like,
Yeah. It's like a deer steering in headlights. They
yeah,
see
go
the light.
learn
They
about it.
see the light, but they don't move.
They don't move. It's overwhelming.
And
It's
you're gonna get
overwhelming.
rolled over, man.
You're gonna
Yeah.
get you're gonna get passed and rolled over.
Yeah.
Use AI right now. I
Yeah.
I highly recommend use, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. Use one of those tools
Mm-hmm.
to start teaching yourself. I
Right.
mentioned Notebook LM earlier. Um, Anyone can use Notebook LM because Google is offering it for free.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
What was that
whatever
again? What was it?
Notebook LM.
Notebook.
Yeah,
Notebook LM.
Notebook LM. And what that will do is you can copy paste, you can give it links, and you can just say, hey, listen, can you help me understand this topic? Can you help me understand? And it will talk to you. It will interact with you, to be honest.
Yes.
It will prompt you, and you can ask it questions in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of it, because it's not going to jump out and do anything harmful. I think it's just a service to yourself as a human being, as a person. Human beings we're still in control.
Yes.
We're still in control, and we get to control how this tool is used, and if so no one screams at sharp knives. No one screams, toaster ovens, they get
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
There's, those things
Yeah.
can still burn down homes and still hurt people. So no one screams. You think of it like a tool. Think of it
Yeah.
has those practical tools that it helps you cook in the kitchen so you can feed the family, so that your kids get strength, so they can go to school, so you can think about it in that capacity. Fuels goes into your car so that you can drive to work. Think of it like a tool, like a resource. If you think of it like that and you learn about it, you're better off.
Okay. And, like you're sharing a lot of information. To some folks, it might be information overload. So if you were to just point on one thing, one piece of advice, what would you give? If you could give one piece of advice, what advice would you give? One item,
I would
action item for them to do right now.
I would go back to what I said a few minutes ago. Use the AI right now. I would talk to it, not necessarily like a human being, because in reality, we shouldn't get away from that. But I think that it's available, and put in information that's of concern to you, and you can build around it.
Now, what advice would you give to a small or medium-sized CEO?
First of all, contact me.
Okay.
But I think,
and how do they do that?
Well, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Orloff Phillips, and you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's a great way. And also you can go to my website, swissassociates.com and orloffphillips.com. And, so between those three avenues, you can contact me through the contact form. I have a team that's, will let you know, a good time to meet up with me. There was another piece of question I missed that you asked me about.
Well, we were saying if you were talking to small businesses or CEOs, like you gave advice to just regular people, just get involved with AI, learn AI. And as a owner of a company, a CEO, small business, mom pop business, what piece of advice would you give them? You said call you, but what else?
So what small businesses, what I've been talking to small business owners about is learn this term, master prompt. Master prompt is where, and ChatGPT is probably the best at this, is where you customize the generative AI to around what you need. So, for example, you go to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, will you give me a master prompt of questions, and it will give it to you, and then you answer those questions, and it will customize itself around you and your needs. So every time it addresses you, you don't have to go and retrain it for something different. It will continue to build upon that. And I would say for small businesses, that's like a great way to have an advisory board. You have ideas, you have concerns to bounce off. Use the master prompt to integrate within your generative AI, and then give it information about your business, and then have it create models for you. You have to go pay anyone for that. Let the AI do that for you, and it will give you practical information that you can use for your business today.
Okay. One of the ways that I tell people to simplify mastering the prompts would be to use a formula. For example, you got to give it content, then you give it a role, and then you give it what the expectations that you are looking for.
Exactly.
So, content, give it a role in the content, and then ask for the expectation, what you expect it to do with it. So it kind of simplifies it, I think,
Yeah.
But that's great,
another
man.
key word is to tell it not to have any illusions. So whatever feedback.
Yes.
Yeah, not to give you, just to be as straightforward. No illusions. That's another key word you can tell it, and it will respond accordingly.
Okay. Now, what's the one thing you would want your listeners that are listening to this show today to walk away with? What do you want them to to know about you and your business? What's the one thing?
Don't be intimidated about change. We're here to partner with you to make sure that your business agenda gets moved along. And I think that's the simplest way to help small businesses in particular really understand the type of journey that I can help support them on. And they don't have to wait until somebody else tells them. There are things that we can work on now that it's not going to be burdensome for them. I am committed to that and to help them execute on their goals and their agenda.
Okay. Now, flip the, just people can get to know you a little bit, a little lighter note. Are you a coffee drinker or a tea drinker?
I'm a tea drinker.
Okay.
I am a tea drinker. I'm from Georgetown, Guyana. So that's that British side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think when I was born, they kind of give you tea straight up.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my joke. I always say that.
All right. Now, if you could have one superpower in the world, what? If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I think I would want to be able to see, I want to see, like, I'll say 30 seconds into the future. I would want to be able to be a better anticipator of things to come. I think it for me, I want to be able to, maybe in both directions, maybe 30 seconds in a snapshot into the past to learn about what's going on now, and then take that same 30 seconds into the future.
Into the future. Okay. What's the biggest obstacle you ever had to overcome? A lesson learned?
One of the biggest things, you're out here in this world, and I think, trusting is pretty big for everyone. And when you're in business and you're working with small business owners, really learning what they need to value trust. And so I've learned how to personally and professionally how to overcome that. So I'm able to apply that when it comes to understanding other businesses and what they're looking for. Really being a good listener. I've had to learn how to be a good listener. I've had a friend I was talking to who's also in the IT space who echoed that to me. He's like, "Man, you're such a better listener today." I had to put in the work.
I feel you on that. I feel you, man. This has been a great interview, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to adjust your schedule to meet with me. And
absolutely.
I think you passed along some powerful information, and make sure that your listeners, for those of you who are out here listening to this, make sure you share it and hit Mr. Orloff up and tap into his wealth of knowledge. And if you're a business owner, I'm sure he can help you out, especially, up there in the Philadelphia area, practically anywhere in the world nowadays. He is definitely shares some knowledge with us, and we certainly appreciate you spending that time, Orloff.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, okay. And again, for everyone listening or watching, if you got value from this conversation, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share this episode of Next Gen Podcast 1. That's bringing us to the close of today's conversation on Next Gen Podcast. And if you found value here, please share and the perspective, or simply remind you that business can be both smart and human. And we invite you to like, follow, and share the show. And when you do, you're not just supporting the podcast, you're helping meaningful conversations reach leaders and builders who need them. People committed to creating smarter companies and stronger teams. Thank you for spending your time with us today. Join us again for the next conversation. This is Next Gen Podcast 1. I'm Derrick Fennell, where we help build smart companies and strong people.